A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Ashing Sani Veerasinghe. Let's have a look at the headlines for today. The presidential candidate of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa states that the political culture of mudslinging should be changed. Minister Ravi Karunanika states no other candidate is a challenge to the UNP in the forthcoming presidential election. News in detail. The former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa is officially announced as the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna by party leader Mahinda Rajapaksa at the first ever national convention of the SLPP held yesterday at the Colombo Sugatadasa Stadium. In November 2016, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, a front for the joint opposition, was formed and former Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Pires was appointed as its chairman and its symbol is the flower bud. However, there was no official leader for the party up until yesterday, where the opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa officially took the leadership of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna party at its first convention of the party. The significant event that happened on its national convention day is the announcement of its presidential candidate for the forthcoming presidential election. Accordingly, it was announced by the party leader Mahinda Rajapaksa that the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa will be contesting for presidency at the upcoming presidential election.
මගේ සහෝදරකමින් මම ඔහුව බාර දෙන ඔබට අන් කිසිවෙක් නෙවෙයි ගෝඨාභයයි.
The presidential candidate of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa assures that if he gets elected as the president in the forthcoming presidential election, he will strive to introduce people-centric economic principles.
Our goal has to be the creation of a prosperous nation through the development of productive citizens, families that live happily, and a society that is disciplined. Every citizen has the right to enjoy economic stability, have opportunities to improve their status, and to live with dignity. I will introduce people-centric economic principles to create this environment. Developing our human resources will be one of the main responsibilities of our government. We need to enable our future generations to become productive citizens through giving special attention to their education and to the development of their skills and abilities. We will ensure that the youth will be given more opportunities to pursue the tertiary education and technical education. We will improve the necessary infrastructure facilities for this with a short period.
Furthermore, the presidential candidate of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa states that the predominant political culture of mudslinging among political opponents and misleading the public with lies should also be changed.
This is a dignified objective, and I believe we must conduct our election campaign in the same spirit of dignity. As such, we must ensure that the entire election campaign will be a disciplined, law-abiding and dignified one. Being mindful of the environment, we should also be an example to all political parties by completely avoiding the use of polythene and plastics in our election campaign. We should also use this opportunity to change the prevailing political culture of attacking political opponents, taking personal revenge, and misleading the public with lies. I request you to respond to our opponents' false allegations with reasoned and logical truth.
Minister of Power, Energy and Business Development Ravi Karunanika stresses that no other candidate is a challenge to the United National Party in the forthcoming presidential election. Addressing the media personnel, the minister assures that the common man of the country is aware about the government's commitment towards its development projects and that he places his trust on the people. The minister went on to state that he is confident that UNP will remain in the government even in the next year. The minister also said that his party's presidential candidate will treat all religious groups equally and will have expertise knowledge on the governing system of the country. Significantly, Minister further added that even though the present government is trying to bring the wrongdoers before the law, certain culprits have been released. He further stated that the government cannot involve in Supreme Court judgments. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. During the year up to 9th of August 2019, the Sri Lanka rupee appreciated against the US dollar by 3.1%. The Statistics Department of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, in its latest weekly economy review, said that the Sri Lanka rupee appreciated against the pound sterling by 7.7%, the euro by 5.3% and the Indian rupee by 3.9%, while depreciated against Japanese yen by 1.1% during this period. Central Bank issuing its weekly economic indicators on the 9th of August said that crude oil prices showed a declining trend and prices showed a considerable decline due to signs of slowing global economic growth amid US-China trade war. Overall, Brent and WTI prices fell by $3.7 per barrel and $3.5 per barrel respectively within the period. During the first half of 2019, domestic tea production reported a marginal growth mainly due to the recovery in production during the second quarter. Production of rubber increased with the support of the favorable weather conditions, while coconut production increased significantly, continuing its growth momentum. The index of industrial production in June 2019 has increased by 2.2% compared to June 2018. Among the major subdivisions of the manufacturing industries, coke and refined petroleum products by 22.3% and other non-metallic mineral products by 17.3% have mainly contributed to the overall increase. The reserve money increased compared to the previous week mainly due to the increase in currency in circulation and deposits held by the commercial banks. The total outstanding market liquidity was a surplus of 22.42 billion rupees by end of the week compared to a surplus of 34.25 billion rupees by the end of last week. Vijayabahu Motocross, the motor racing competition organized by Vijayabahu Infantry Regiment together with Sri Lanka Racing Riders Association, will be held on 25th August 2019. Thus, the motor racing competition is happening this year for the 17th consecutive time at Vijayabahu Infantry premises in Kurunegala.
Vijayabahu Motocross, the motor racing event, was organized for the first time in the year 2000 with the participation of racing riders of the Sri Lankan Army, those of Vime province and island-wide, in order to popularize the sport to raise funds for the welfare of the members of the regiment. Last year's Vijayabahu Motocross concluded with the participation of more than 100 competitors, including Ishan Dasanayaka, Ivan V. Gurusinghe and a number of known riders. Funds raised by previous motocross event were allocated to ventures such as construction of houses for the members of the Vijayabahu Infantry Regiment, providing infrastructure facilities for officers and other ranks, awarding scholarships and donating computer facilities for the children of the members of Vijayabahu Infantry Regiment. Now we have Major General Chandana Gunawardana explaining further on the event.
Vijayabahu Motocross is one of the greatest and grand event in our Vijayabahu regimental event calendar. This time for the 17th year, we are going to have the motocross races on August 25th, and this is definitely going to be a very grand event, and all the motorbike riders in Sri Lankan, well as there will be certain foreign riders also looking forward to participate, and we expect more than 125 Sri Lankan riders to participate to this event on 25th August.
Let's take a look at a few more stories for the day in brief. The Chamber of Young Lankan Entrepreneurs, COIL, in collaboration with Japan External Trade Corporation, organized Sri Lanka Corporate Health and Productivity Awards for the second consecutive year, which is expected to attract a great deal of concern from business enterprises and young entrepreneurs. This year's award ceremony is set to be held in January 2020 in line with the health and program held in Japan by the Ministry of Economy, Trade, Industry and Tokyo Stock Exchange. All the participant enterprises from Sri Lanka are invited to register for the Productivity Awards and will primarily be categorized under extra large, large, medium and small based on their number of employees. The visiting United States Assistant Secretary for South and Central Asian Affairs, Alice Wells, met with opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa at his official residence in Wijeramamawatha, Colombo yesterday. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and former Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Pires and US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Alina B. Teplitz, were also present at the meeting. Sri Lanka Ceylon Tobacco Company plc reports that the government increasing the excise duty on cigarettes in August 2018 and March 2019 led to a price increase of legal cigarettes. As a result, the Ceylon Tobacco Company's sales volume for the second quarter ended 30th June 2019 had reduced by 21.5% in comparison to the same period last year. The reports further outlines that company's contribution to the government revenue through excise and other levies for the second quarter has reduced by 2.6 billion rupees and the 2.5 billion rupees respectively in comparison to the same period last year. That's all the news for today. Join us tomorrow at the same time. Until then, take care. Good night.